Well, Lathan, we are huge fans of First Liberty Institute and the great work you're doing in defending all of our freedom, really, but religious free speech and free exercise questions principally are of great concern today. There have been some good outcomes in the courts, some recent Supreme Court decisions that have rebuked the lower courts for bias and the way that they've handled free exercise questions. But the left never seems to let up, do they? They take their defeats and just charge back up the hill and fight again. What are some of the cases that First Liberty is working on right now?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. We do have quite a few cases making their way through the court system, really at all times. I mean, it's never a dull moment around the office. A few of the cases we have currently that are probably close to the highest level in the court. So we have Coach Joe Kennedy, football coach from Bremerton, Washington, who was fired for taking a knee at the 50-yard line after football games and saying a 15 to 30-second silent prayer. We have represented Coach all the way.
So when a coach says a prayer on a football field, he's clearly establishing a religion, isn't he?
That's what the Ninth Circuit thought. Yes, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, in their ruling against Coach Kennedy, said that if an employee engages in any sort of religious activity and they can be seen, that is somehow violating the Establishment Clause. So that's a dangerous precedent if it's allowed to stand.
You can worship in your stained glass ghetto, you take it into the public square, you're going to have trouble.
There is a sort of redefinition or an attempt to redefine what the free exercise of religion means by some of these cases, and you will hear the phrase the right to worship tossed around a lot. But the free exercise of religion means the free exercise of religion. It means your ability to live according to your faith, and that's really all that Coach Kennedy was doing.
The president has done a remarkable work in the early years of his first term in appointing judges that we would call either originalists or constitutionalists. Are you optimistic as to what we're seeing in the federal courts in the way that President Trump has had such good success in confirming truly constitutionalists?
Yes, so far so good. I mean, the judges that he has appointed.
He stole some people right out of your shop.
One of our most active volunteer attorneys, from the private sector, was a man named James Ho, who's now on the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. So we're obviously very pleased with that appointment. But yes, the judges so far that have been appointed and confirmed have been excellent jurists, and we have analyzed their time. If they were currently judges, we've looked at opinions that they have written to kind of give us an indication as to where they stand on textualism and the meaning of the First Amendment and the Free Exercise Clause and the Establishment Clause. And we've been very pleased so far with the judges that have been confirmed.
Speaking of the so-called doctrine of the separation of church and state, Justice Rehnquist said that the so-called wall of separation was a bad metaphor based on bad history and should be frankly and explicitly abandoned. What's the likelihood, in your opinion, of that happening, of us returning back to the words of the Constitution, not a letter by Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptists?
Well, that phrase has sort of made its way into the lexicon of just American legal conversation. What I think is more important will be the decisions that come out of these courts that do respect what the original intent of the First Amendment was, regardless of whether or not they used the phrase separation of church and state. If they're getting the decisions right, then that's what we're really concerned with, is the proper interpretation of the First Amendment, which protects people's rights to live according to their faith, whatever that faith may be, and not establish an official church of the United States of America.